Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. My name is Sarita. It is such a gloomy, dark, rainy day today. And frankly, I didn't really feel like making a candle video. But Lord knows I need to do candle videos. If only to regain my off-camera counter and ledge space, for sure. And as I started kind of preparing for this video, I got really excited because I am a huge VOLUSPA fan. And you may not be if you're tuning in, totally fine. I completely acknowledge and receive all of the criticisms of VOLUSPA. So VOLUSPA is a California company. I believe they are poured in Santa Monica, California, which to my knowledge and my remembrance, because I lived for a summer in Los Angeles, I believe that it is kind of west of West Hollywood, right as you're going into the Malibu region. And I did go to their big, store. What do they call it? Flagship store. It's just kind of in this little like outdoor mall in Santa Monica. Nothing like to really, be too crazy or wild about. Yeah, but I have always been a pretty big VOLUSPA fan. So after my Yankee days, when I was looking for a candle company to kind of adopt as my chosen signature candle company, I did try VOLUSPA, and for a few reasons, actually really just for one reason, it did not become my signature candle company. And that major reason is that the candles have very little strength and throw. I mean, it's as simple as that. They are just not good at that. They are good at a whole range of other things. So if you're not familiar with VOLUSPA, these are the very signature jars here for VOLUSPA. It's this lovely colored embossed glass with an embossed lid. And for whatever reasons, VOLUSPA has always been heavily influenced by Japanese culture, actually, and Japanese artwork. They have a lot of their candles fit into the catalog or the mini collection Japanesque, which is like so where is VOLUSPA's, here's Huckleberry, which I was just showing you. They have these tins, and their tins are very like Japanese influenced in terms of their like shapes and their colors and their artistic direction, etc. Japanese, and in fact, here's one candle right here that's called Japanese Plum Bloom. I was just about to say, most of their fragrances are not inspired by Japan. Of course, this is proving me wrong. There are a couple that are. I think Mosu Bamboo is as well. There's a couple fragrances that do make a very explicit bow to Japan or to some sort of Japanese fragrance note. But for the most part, it's just very Japanese influence in terms of the art direction and the packaging and the direction. And like I said, I don't really know what the story is on that. I don't know about the founders. I don't know about why that has been such a huge aspect of their marketing, but their marketing is so gorgeous. So you've probably seen candles at like knockoff candles at TJ Maxx, at Marshall's, at various other places now that have this amazing embossed look. They are conscientiously trying to mimic this very successful art direction from VOLUSPA. They are the original ones who did this. They pour in a proprietary coconut wax blend. It is a blend. So it has coconut and various other things that are frankly they're not transparent about. So it could be plant-based. It could be like a coconut soy. If it was a coconut soy, I think it would probably be indicated, or they would make something of it because soy is very trendy. So I suspect that it's a coconut paraffin blend, but it's an extremely soft wax, like so much so that just handling the jars, you get it like all over your fingers, which is probably great for your skin. All of my skin is glowing and smelling so amazing afterwards, but it also makes many of their vessels, especially these tins, very slippery to handle. I'm gonna try not to slip around a whole lot on camera here, but yeah, they're very slippery to the touch because this is, in my experience, one of the softest waxes being poured by major candle companies right now. It also breaks down incredibly fast. It does not have good shelf life. So I have a lot of VOLUSPA candles that I've just been kind of hanging on to in my storage area, and between us, they're probably almost completely obsolete at this point. I should just throw them out because the wax just, and that is what happens with like a heavy plant-based formula. It is just gonna break down extremely quickly and disintegrate and really not be good for burning on any kind of level. Yeah, so VOLUSPA's main Achilles heel though has been very bad strength and throw. So they have these beautiful large tumblers here, and I think these are 22 ounce, hand poured in the US. Hey, at least they were hand poured. Okay, here we go. This label just peeled off. It peeled off because of all of the oil here on this jar. Okay, so hand poured in the US by VOLUSPA in Irvine, California. All right, so there you go. So at least the flagship is in Santa Monica, but it looks like they're poured in Irvine. They are an American company, coconut wax blend, 100% natural wick. I believe, oh, this says 18 ounces. I was about to say it was 22. It's 18, it's a very thick glass. And they are 1 wicks. They definitely need a second wick. But I suspect that even with a second wick, would really struggle. Unfortunately, their fragrances are gorgeous. Their marketing and art direction is gorgeous. Strength and throw, not so great. So I have actually stopped buying these very traditional kind of glass jars and have instead started buying these shallow tins, which are not quite as like beautiful, I guess, as the embossed glass, but I think are still very stunning, very stunning. They are very shallow. I wish that they were a little bit deeper, because with the shallowness and with the 3 wicks, you can really, I mean, if you, and you should, dedicate a good solid several hours for one of these burns, like in the 3-hour range, 4-hour range, you can really only get about 3 or 4 of those in a vessel of this size. I think it's 12. Yes, 12 ounces, these shallow tins with the 3 wicks. So if they were gonna change or kind of tweak their vessel here, I love it. I think it's a great diameter. I think it's a great 3 wick. It just needs to be a bit deeper. Even if they could make it like a 16 or maybe an 18 ounce with that 3 wick, just a deeper tin, I think it would be an even better format because you could definitely get more burns out of it. But at any rate, this is the format that I highly recommend to you if you're at all interested in VOLUSPA. Don't mess around with the lovely gold, with the lovely glass ones. You really need a multiple wick for VOLUSPA to get any kind of strength or throw. Obviously, some fragrances, like all companies, some fragrances are lighter than others, but when they have a pretty solid fragrance, you will be able to smell it if you get this shallow multiple wick tin. They also have like huge hearth vessels that are like, I don't know, over 100 ounces or something with 5 wicks, etc. I don't recommend those for the reason that, number one, that's an enormous amount of candle. And if you are not sure that you're going to love that fragrance for like the rest of your days, if you're not sure that you want to spend like $200 on a candle, I don't think that that's a really good bet. I think that they're marketing those huge vessels as Homeworks and various others. I really think it's more of a status thing. Yeah. A lot of people in a certain tax bracket love showing off their huge ass candle that they've spent $200 on. And they often end up being people who don't burn candles that very often. And so it makes sense to have this huge hearth candle that they burn every now and then and will probably be sitting there in their space almost as a decor piece because they're usually very beautiful. They're statement pieces. It'll probably be sitting there in their space for like years unless they change their decor. And if you're in a tax bracket, that often happens, it happens a lot. So anyway, if you're just like an average folk I do not recommend buying one of those hearth size, and it's not the only way that you can get a good VOLUSPA candle with good strength and throw. Just go for one of these. They're actually fairly reasonably priced. By fairly reasonably, I want to say that they're in the $28 range, but sales are not unheard of, especially if you buy them off of other retailers like Nordstrom or Bloomingdale's, etc., because they do sell these candles, and often they will be having some sort of candle sale, you know, at one of them. And with those really bougie department stores, they tend to match prices. And so if one of the bougie department stores puts their VOLUSPA candles on sale, the other ones will price match it. So not unheard of. I usually try to get them at least 20% off in the $20 range, $21, $22. And they're not bad for what is considered kind of, I would call it a gateway luxury candle company. It's not like super luxury. It's frankly not even as expensive as like Nest is, for instance, but it's a little bit more bougie than like Yankee Candle or something like that. So I call it a gateway luxury candle company that's really still fairly reasonably priced for what it is, and for the amazing and gorgeous packaging and the very thought and care that they put into every single one of their fragrances. Most of their fragrances are above average in terms of the thought, the care, the attention, the sophistication, etc. They're really lovely fragrances. They also have lately been putting out a lot of kind of limited edition fragrances that are more, I don't know, let me say this tactfully. They are very sweet and very fruity for a particular kind of a female demographic, if you know what I mean. Not my demographic personally, but VOLUSPA is kind of doing several of those kinds of candles, like what was the watermelon one? Kalahari watermelon or whatever else would definitely fit into that kind of category of like kind of fruity tooty, not quite as sophisticated as most of their other core collection fragrances, but certainly very attractive to a certain demographic that buys their candles. So they do have some of those, but I would say for the most part, they're all really very sophisticated, and maybe even, I mean, they definitely lean on the perfumey side, and I don't love perfumey candles, but man, these fragrances are top notch. They really are. Even their like more perfumey fragrances are just so excellently blended. So I'm still a huge fan of VOLUSPA, and I still wish them well and root for them, and always kind of look at what's coming out next. Anthropology sells a great deal of these candles as well. I have an Anthropology in my hometown, or in my not my hometown, the town that I'm living in right now. And so I go there on a frequent basis just to kind of smell what kind of VOLUSPA candles they have on the floor. Usually they have several that are just kind of core collection standbys, and then they have some more limited offerings as well. And so I like kind of smelling through what it is that they're doing. For a while, VOLUSPA didn't really release a whole lot of new fragrances, and if they released a new fragrance, it was just a very limited edition one. But within the last year, they have released a lot of new fragrances into their core collection that have been really fantastic. The biggest and the standout one was last holiday season, the Noble Fir Garland, which is a fantastic fragrance. It is actually not only a good fragrance for VOLUSPA, it is a fantastic tree fragrance across the board, and possibly in the top 5 of tree fragrances. So this was a phenomenal offering for them that they're pitching really big this year, as they should. And so their 2 main Christmas candles now are Noble Fir Garland and Crushed Peppermint, which I didn't bring with me and I should have. It's got that beautiful red and white candy cane design on it. Really fantastic 2 holiday candles. This one's even better than Crushed Candy Cane because it actually performs a little bit better. But yeah, I'm really happy to see that they now have 2 very solid Christmas candles that they can bring out every year. Before these 2, they were just relying, or before this one, they were relying upon the Crushed Peppermint, and then they also had, a white cypress. They had a white cypress candle that was a very pale green color that they were kind of pitching as their Christmas tree fragrance, but it was so bad. And it was like, even for VOLUSPA, like virtually unscented. So I haven't seen it around since they brought this out last year, and it does not hold a candle, pun intended, to Noble Fir Garland. So I am super, super happy with this. I think it's a huge success for the company. So anyway, I have a haul for you today because they were running, and they usually do, right before, like in the Black Friday-ish period into the first week of December, VOLUSPA does a site-wide 20% off discount. And then the bougie department stores price match it. So they usually put all of their VOLUSPA candles at least on 20% off, if not 25% off. So it's a really great moment to buy VOLUSPA candles. And then on top of it, and I believe it's passed already, but usually Anthropologie the first week of December has a 30% off of all of their candles, including VOLUSPA. So that's also a great time to get them at Anthropologie. Anthropologie tends to not sell these shallow tins though, so that's the only thing about getting VOLUSPAs from Anthropologie. All right, so anyway, I got a haul from VOLUSPA. There were a few new candles that I was really interested in, and I was especially interested in their vaunted, very well promoted collaboration with the Wicked movie. They were commissioned to do 2 fragrances, one for Alfalfa and one for Glinda, green and pink, and they did, and the vessels look stunning, absolutely stunning. They're these glass vessels with huge like diamonds on top, just really beautiful, obviously green and pink respectively. And actually the name of these, they have a few, and this is just the very mini tins of them because I wasn't sure that I wanted to spring for full fragrances. I just wanted to kind of smell them, but they do have a few packages with like 2, the pink and the green candle, and they're calling it Pink Goes Good with Green Candle Duo, which is so fantastic, and it's a nod to a line from the movie, which by the way, I just saw the movie, and I'm one of those virgins that like had never seen it on Broadway, had never read the book, only knew it by reputation. So that was a big moment for me to go to the movie theater and watch this movie, but I did. I have some thoughts. I don't know that they're appropriate for this video, but at any rate, yes, I did see the movie, and I do recognize that like nod to the movie Pink Goes Good with Green. So anyway, I really wanted one of these, and they were not readily available even at the retailers. So when VOLUSPA was doing their 20% off sale, I'm like, I really want to smell these 2 fragrances. So I went ahead and made a haul from VOLUSPA. I bought these two little fragrances from the Wicked collab, and they just came as little tins here, pink and green, right here. And we're going to talk about these 2 fragrances that are new for VOLUSPA right now. And I don't know obviously how long they'll stay around because they're limited edition. And then I went ahead and bought, actually this one was from Nordstrom because they were price matching and I've always wanted it. This is French Cade Lavender. We'll talk about that. This is, I believe, they're either their first fragrance ever, or just their one of their most long-standing and their best-selling fragrance, French Cade Lavender. And I've never had it in a 3-wick tin. So I saw this on the Nordstrom website and I was like, yes, I will go ahead and get that. I think it was maybe 25% off. The new fragrances this year from VOLUSPA were this one, which came out in the summer. It is California Summers. And of course I have the wick tin, but this one came in a beautiful baby blue embossed glass vessel with a tin lid that looked like this. So California Summers was new this summer. And then this fall, actually, no, I think that this one was earlier in the year too. It may have been in the summer, actually. Temple Moss, or maybe late spring. Temple Moss was new this year, and I've wanted to smell it or pick it up. I've not seen it in any retailers, and so I was really excited to get that one. And then hot off the press this fall is this new one, Foraged Wildberry, and looks like this. So I went ahead and got that one as well. Oh yes, and then this one I was not aware of. Oops. See what I mean about the slippery? This is a limited edition. They have this design here for limited editions, and they just kind of change the colors of the like vines, the tendril vines. I think this is a fairly new fragrance. I've not seen it from them. This is Burning Woods. I don't know when it came out, but I saw it on the website and I'm like, well, that's up my alley. I'll go ahead and get that as well. So those are the new candles that I picked up. Oh, they gave me a little mini too of Noble Fir Garland, which I was really happy about. But I do have my Noble Fir Garland from last year that actually I haven't completely burned down, so I'm gonna finish it up this year. So fantastic. Actually, we'll talk about this one too. So let's talk about the ones that I hauled. And if you are not completely aware of like Noble Fir Garland, French Cade Lavender, we'll talk about those as well. Oh, I brought this because I just wanted to show this too. These are another format of candles that you may have seen from VOLUSPA. Oh my gosh, so hard to get into. You've probably seen these like glass macarons that are these like little tiny minis, one wicks. I mean, these are really just glorified like scent cards so that you can kind of smell what a fragrance is, because you are not going to be able to smell this. Even in a guest bathroom, like forget it. But look how pretty they are. They look like French macarons. And of course, a lot of companies have duped this particular format as well. But once again, originally hot off the press from VOLUSPA. They were the ones who created that as one of their signature vessel looks. All right, so let's talk about, should we do Wicked? Let's do Wicked. Okay, so the two fragrances that they came up with, one green and one pink. So the pink one is Perfectly Pink Yuzu, which is a kind of fruit. And I'm not particularly familiar with Yuzu, and I should have done research before I did this review, so I apologize for that. It is kind of like a tropical / Asian fruit, I think, and from the smell of this candle, I want to say that it's tangy, but I could be wrong about that. And if it's not tangy, then this candle is tangy regardless of the fact that it's a Yuzu. I think Yuzu is pretty sweet too, but I could be wrong about that. Okay, so on the box here, it says, uncover the aromatic tale of two opposites that attract, a juxtaposition of fragrances that unlock an unlikely friendship, yet illuminate their individuality. This is not your basic witch. Discover the details within that surprise and delight. This set includes Glinda's Perfectly Pink Yuzu and Alfalba's Bewitching Banyan Forest Mini Tin Candles. Okay, each coconut wax. Okay, perfect. They're both 4 ounces. Obviously, you're not going to get a whole lot of it. It says Universal. So this is a collab, officially licensed fragrant candle from Wicked. And that's kind of what the box looks like right here. Okay, so we've got these 2 candles here. They're both 4 ounce. Banyan is a certain kind of tree. To my knowledge, I know that it is very indigenous to the Southeast Asian, like India, under the banyan tree. Yes, yes. And I just know that from having read like a lot of Indian literature. Again, I should have done research. I don't know if Banyan has a particular or very evocative fragrance note. It may not. I mean, Mosu Bamboo is one of VOLUSPA's like best-selling fragrances, and like bamboo trees aren't really like evocatively fragranced. They smell vaguely woody, vaguely green, but it's not like a really strong or unique fragrance note. So Banyan may be the same way, and I apologize because I probably should have done the research on that. We will talk about the fragrances though as they exist. And I'm unfortunately, I won't be able to tell you if I'm smelling Banyan specifically or Yuzu specifically even, although it's a very fruity candle. So I watched the movie, and I mean, obviously the reputation is like, oh, like the Wicked Witch has been maligned, you know, it's in the same genre of like but what if we provide a backstory for like the much maligned villain of the story? Maybe they're more nuanced, blah blah blah, you know. And they take it's been a long like Hollywood tradition of this in the last few decades. Actually, Maleficent was in this genre, for instance, too, of like creating a much more sympathetic backstory for a villain. I mean, I don't know that I feel any kind of way about it. It kind of seems tired to me and obvious, but whatever. Like, the fairy tales are the fairy tales for a certain kind of reason. There's black and there's white, and like, no, we know that real life isn't that way, but like, I don't think that it's the strength of fairy tales or those kinds of stories to like give us those kinds of nuances. And their shtick is something completely different. Their strength is something completely different. So I don't know that like kind of gently reproaching these fairy tales is like, I don't love it. I'm just like, just let the fairy tale be the fairy tale, but whatever, God bless. What I was not expecting from watching the video or watching the movie, and I haven't read the book, so I don't know. What I wasn't expecting, which I actually like identified with strongly, was this kind of not only a yin and a yang between Glinda and Elphaba, but like this, I hesitate to say gender bending kind of thing, but there was like Elphaba kind of did have more of a masculine energy to her, and Glinda had like uber stereotypically feminine. And I really appreciated that because I've always been kind of a tomboy, and I've always been one of those girls who wasn't super uber girly. And I just appreciated the way that like there was a relationship between the two, and there was a juxtaposition between the two. And I don't know, I appreciated that, and I did identify with that in the Elphaba character. So, true to that, I think these fragrances are supposed to be a little bit more masculine leaning and a little bit more feminine leaning. And looking at the notes and the blurbs, I was fully expecting to like really love the Bewitching Banyan forest and really not love the girly girl perfectly pink Yuzu. Unfortunately, for me at least, I don't think that the Bewitching Banyan Forest fragrance is very good. It's just not. It's not what I expected. It's not as nice or sophisticated or unexpected. It's not as like authentically botanical as I wanted it to be. And actually, I do just objectively think that the Perfectly Pink Yuzu fragrance is better than the Bewitching Banyan Forest is. So that was a little bit of a surprise and not necessarily a pleasant one, but I want to be honest with that. Even though my taste definitely run against Perfectly Pink Yuzu, I think objectively it's the better fragrance of the two, the more unexpected one and the more like interesting one, frankly. So both of them have lengthy scent stories because it's a collab and a lot of money was spent, etc. So the Glinda's Perfectly Pink Yuzu, here's the blurb. You've been Glendified by a perfectly pink fragrance that will thrillify the senses and captivate the room. Smells of perfectly pink yuzu, sparkling sea salt, candied flowers, and vanilla bubbles accessorize the atmosphere. When the room needs a makeover, perfectly pink yuzu takes over. It's just kind of cute, sweet, and very professional. So the notes here are perfectly pink yuzu, sparkling sea salt, candied flowers, and vanilla bubbles. And true to the fact that I identify more with a more masculine energy and Elphaba, I like kind of cringed, frankly, when I read those, because I just thought, oh my gosh, I'm not a sparkling girl. I'm not a perfectly pink girl. It's candied, vanilla bubbles. I mean, if I could create a scent blurb or a fragrance on paper that I would flee from like the plague, it would be this one. It's really a very nice fragrance. So the one bad thing about these VOLUSPAs, and it's partly because they're always slick with this like wax, is they're sometimes really hard to get the lids off of them. I literally had to use a fork on one of them before this video. It's actually kind of nice. So I'm not familiar with a yuzu, but the fragrance note that is very similar to it is grapefruit, frankly. It's like a high citrusy kind of note that is more on the tart side than the super sweet side. And don't get me wrong, it's still a very sweet candle, but it does have that like tangy grapefruit kind of like acidity to it, which I love because I really love grapefruit. And then it does have back behind it this beautiful floral note. Does it mention floral? No, it doesn't mention, oh, it does, candied flowers. Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you what flowers they are, and they're pretty sweet, you know. So everything is very high in the register and very sweet in this candle. I'm not gonna lie to you. But the tanginess of that citrus fruit is kind of cutting it a little bit. And the citrus fruit does spell, it just, you can almost taste it. So the sparkling nature of it just really has to do with the tanginess and the freshness and the sparklingness of just the citrus fruit, rather than a whole lot of like artificial sparkling thrown in on top of it. And in that sense, I think it's very authentic and fresh and bright and like a little bit almost jarring because of that like tangy acidity. And it's got this sweet floral underneath. It does say vanilla bubbles. I'm not getting a ton of vanilla from this. This is not a creamy candle. It's just not. If they had put more vanilla in it, I think it would have changed the texture of the candle. It would have toned it down a little bit, I think, and might have made it a very nice candle. Less sharp, for sure, and maybe even less sweet on a certain level. But I'm not getting a whole lot of the vanilla unless it comes out when burning. And in this small of a vessel, I'm not going to be able to discern it anyway. But yeah, it's not a bad fragrance. I mean, would I buy it? Like, I don't know. It is so grapefruit-like, and I do love grapefruit candles, especially like in January, you know? I might, depending upon the price. I just think it's a little bit thin in terms of the depth of the fragrance. And obviously the intention of it was to stay really high range for the theme of the movie, theme of the character, theme of the mood, the vibe, etc. So I actually wouldn't have minded a little bit more vanilla in it. And I would have loved it even more if it was like a Tonka or something like that. But the whole point of it is like this syrupy, like Kristen Chenoweth kind of like vibe. And actually, given that, I am surprised by the tanginess of the note that cuts it a little bit, and it's very welcome to me. So I actually think that it's a better fragrance than this Bewitching Banyan Forest. So the Banyan Forest blurb is, Alfalba's Bewitching Banyan Forest. Make your own magic. Set the ambiance aglow with a warm, woody fragrance. See, I was like there with that. Woody fragrance that defies gravity. Uncover the unknown with hypnotic notes of Alfalba's phosphorescent forest, tangled with banyan tree branches and a warm, glowing amber light. Envelop your space in a green elixir that will set your spirit free to discover the power within. Again, very nice blurb. So the notes on this one are phosphorescent forest, banyan tree branches, and luminous amber light. So I was mostly interested in the forest and the tree branches, obviously, because I really wanted that like woody earthiness. And it's not really a woody or earthy fragrance. Phosphorescent makes me smile. I only watched, and of course they didn't tell us this until like a week before the movie came out, but they're like, oh, this is only part one. Wait, what? Did you notice that? They very intentionally withheld that from the marketing on Wicked until like a week before the movie came out. They were like, oh yeah, there's a second movie coming out in a year. 3 hours this movie almost is. 3 hours, and it's a part one. Anyway, since I haven't read the book and since I haven't seen the Broadway play, or Broadway musical, I am in the dark about what happens next. Although obviously knowing The Wizard of Oz, I kind of have some general sense. But anyway, I don't know about this phosphorescent forest because it did not figure yet into part 1, but I'm excited about it. It sounds impressive. It's so hard to say. Phosphorescent. It's like this glowing green, almost electric green glow that comes from like minerals. So I know this, the biggest fragrance reference for me is, I don't know if you've seen the Disney movie, not Maui, what's it called? You know, the Hawaiian girl. Moana. Oh, I like that movie. Moana 2 has just come out. I don't know if it's any good. Anyway, and it's coming out in live action as well. Moana. There's this great scene under the ocean with a crab. And the crab is hilarious. And the crab, they're trying to find this like, this pitch hook or whatever, or no, a charm. It's the charm. It's the charm. It's the heart of whatever. And it's the green thing, right? And the crab has it maybe or something. And then he gets tricked by the phosphorescent mineral that they put in its place as a decoy. Anyway, the word phosphorescent comes up very prominently in that song, in that interaction, and it's really hilarious. So anyway, just added that in there. If you are a mother or a parent of a very small child or of nieces and nephews, you know exactly what I'm talking about. All right, close parentheses. Let's talk about this fragrance. Can't get it open. I tell you guys, this is like the worst. All right. Yeah, it's just not expected. And it's not fresh and it's not botanical. It's like vaguely soapy, very perfumey. It's like a soapy perfume, kind of powdery. It's higher in the range than you would expect, given the marketing, given the vibe, given the blurb, etc. I'm not getting a whole lot here that's woody. Yes, there is some muskiness, but it's higher in the range too. It's like a golden amber. It's a higher musk. And I get it that it's like a woman's fragrance maybe, but I don't know. This is also very high and sweet. And I don't love that, first of all. Second of all, it's dominated with amber and musk. I mean, it's just amber musk, but very high, very sweet. And then there is a fruitiness, but it's kind of like the fruitiness that you would expect from like a bergamot note, for instance, in a traditional perfume or cologne, like, you know, texture or formula. I was about to say, there is something kind of green about it. It's so on the nose. I would think I would say that even without the marketing and without all of the leading like blurb. But by green, actually phosphorescent is about where I was going with this. It has a very like almost synthetic electric vibe to it. But again, with the soapiness and with the perfuminess and the synthetic nature of it, it just seems like a cheap perfume. I do not like this fragrance. I really don't. And just objectively, it does not have the same freshness and authenticity as like the Perfectly Pink Yuzu does. I'm surprised by this fragrance and I don't think it's very good. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's as simple as that. I would not have purchased it if I had smelled it in store. So unfortunately, the Alfalfa portion of this is a little bit disappointing. And even for me, and my tastes don't lean this way, if I had to choose between the two of them, I would definitely choose Glinda's Perfectly Pink Yuzu. And actually, when they've been on sale lately with that beautiful glass pink, I've been looking at the prices of it and being like, if I were gonna buy one, I would buy the Glinda one. So there you go. If your tastes run more galindified, I think you would really love that fragrance. I do. And I think it would be a fantastic fragrance for January, February. For sure. It's bright, it's sparkling, it's fresh, it's citrusy. A lot of us like a good citrus, even a lemon or a grapefruit or something like that for early January, February. You're cleaning your house, everything's sparkling. There's something about that citrus that's abrasive, but it's also like kind of, I don't know, stimulating, and also there's a freshness to it and a cleanness and a clarity, and you're centering, and you've got your New Year's resolutions, etc. So it's already kind of a season coming up here for citrus notes, and even very like clear, like astringent ones. And so that combined with the sweetness of the floral back behind it, I just think this would be a fantastic fragrance for January, February. If I saw it at a really good price, I would even consider picking one up. And if your tastes lean that way, I don't think you would be disappointed. Of course, all bets off when it comes to strength and throw, but I think that of the two, the Perfectly Pink Yuzu actually is the better one and possibly even a winner. So there you go. Let's talk about the one that I am most excited about then of the new releases, and it's this one. I am so happy that this was not a disappointment. This is Temple Moss right here, and it's got this kind of earthy green, almost an armory green kind of color to it, or an olive green. Really beautiful. Oh my gosh, I love this fragrance. It's been a while since, I mean, not a while, it's actually only been a year since there was a VOLUSPA fragrance released that was so fantastic, a la Noble Fir Garland. But man, this is gorgeous. This should have been the alfalfa. This is exactly what I was hoping and expecting from that alfalfa fragrance. This one is foresty green, like a little bit more masculine, very botanically fresh, like earthy. It's gorgeous. All right, so the blurb here, actually, Temple Moss, the notes on it are cool moss, dewy leaves, river rock, and precious woods. So some of these are nonsense notes. Cool moss can be a note. Dewy leaves, dewy is a note. So something kind of vaguely aquatic, maybe vaguely botanical green, etc. Maybe an aloe note. Leaves is a nonsense note. Rock is a nonsense note. But it is river rock. So again, maybe something mineral or something aquatic, marine, and then precious woods. So we have woods, a lot of aquatic, and then we have some forest or like mossy green elements to it. Also, let me see, I think I printed out the blurb on this one from the website. Let's check it. Let's check it. I'm sorry, I know this video is going on long. It's gonna be long. But I love my VOLUSPA, so I hope you don't mind. All right, the fragrance blurb or the scent story for Temple Moss. VOLUSPA invites you to seek solace in the forest floor. Ground down in the healing notes of cool moss, dewy leaves, wet stones, and warm sun peeking through the thicket of hinoki branches. Ooh, we've got some Japan influence. The master perfumer herself, Mother Nature, will guide you to tranquility through rhythmic sights, sounds, and scents. Oh, there's a missing there was a missing space there. Anyway, rhythmic sights, sounds, and scents of her lush forest. All are welcome to wander the aromatic grounds of Temple Moss. Man, they've got professionals working on their blurbs, that is for sure. All right, so gosh, this is good. It's a lot of green. And it is a green leaf, almost a green vine smell, but definitely like a green leaf. Fragrant green leaves, yeah? So these aren't like dry leaves. These are like vibrant green, lush, jungle green leaves, right? And then yes, an aquatic, kind of a soft aquatic note through it all. So there's a dampness and a wetness there, but again, it's like, it's vaguely sweet, almost in an aloe kind of way. Like it's got, but it's not like a thick kind of filler aloe note. It's like the sweetness of leaves and water, basically. I mean, it's just very fragrant and aromatic, but in a very green jungle kind of way. And the aquatic note here is sweet. It's sweet and fresh and clear. And yes, there might be a little bit of a saltiness, but it's not like a briny. It's more of a clear and fresh mountain kind of water with a real sweetness to it. And there is a warmth to the whole, which makes it think that it's not like a cool mountain stream or scene, but again, it's a lush jungle kind of moisture and green. And then there is this amazing gosh, I want to say it's almost like a floral note, but it's also vegetal at the same time. It's like a vegetal floral. And there is almost something like herbal in it and almost something spicy as in a black pepper. It is so fantastic. The sophistication, the nuance here, the like botanical richness of this, it's fantastic. And it's not overwhelmed with like musk and amber throughout, as if covering over the fact that the inputs are cheap or that the oils are not fresh or whatever else. I mean, it's just gorgeous. Wow, what a gorgeous candle. Am I concerned about strength and throw? Yes, I am. The thing about it is when you do get a very botanically authentic kind of candle, it does make it a little bit less likely for it to amplify well in your house, primarily because it's got such of those, you know, authentic notes. Oh my gosh, I love this candle. I just love it. I don't know what to say. I love it. And I'm so hoping, I'm hoping that it doesn't like transform for the worst once it's burned, that I can smell it at least in a bathroom or a back bedroom. Oh my gosh. I'm just so happy. I'm so happy. And like I said, I think for sure something like this would have been a lot better for the alfalfa fragrance. So I think this is fantastic, and I'm really excited to burn that one up. All right, so here's another one. Here's California Summers with this beautiful, like kind of coral blue, light design. How pretty is that? Yes. All right, California Summers. The notes on California Summers are California Waves, sea salt, warm vanilla, and teak wood. So I was expecting a certain kind of fragrance that this is not. It looks like right up my alley with the, I love the ocean. I love the ocean candles with a little bit of warmth from vanilla and then a teak wood. Oh my gosh, that sounds incredible. So it's not. This is actually a very simple candle, and it's a coconut candle. So coconut is not listed in the notes. This is a coconut candle with amber and maybe some sandalwood. And it's nice enough. It's very linear, and it's kind of a little on the basic side, but it's not synthetic for the most part. And it's a fairly strong coconut note that is fairly sweet. But like I said, it doesn't go full like synthetic or artificial or suntan or coconut extract or pina colada or something like that. It really doesn't, and I'm happy about that. So I did get the blurb on this, and the blurb did mention coconut, because otherwise it would just be like, what is this? It does seem like it may struggle a little bit with strength and throw, but you know, par for the course here. So the blurb on California Summer is plunge into the blue horizon and escape into another realm where worries are reduced to coasting on hypnotic rolling waves. A salty ocean breeze tickles the skin as the sun reaches its peak height of the day, leaving you to bask in a teakwood sling chair lathered in a tonic of warm vanilla and coconut milk. Welcome in the rising tides to wash away the cares of the day. VOLUSPA invites you to take the scenic route so you may always return for California summers. Oh, so nice. And of course, like right in their wheelhouse, they literally, their flagship store is like, you know, it's like a block or two from the actual ocean. Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like a coconut milk candle. Now that they mention milk, yeah, there's a good amount of creaminess in it. I did say that with like the sandalwood and the amber. But there is a good amount of sweetness and creaminess that could very well be vanilla, but it doesn't take away or water down the coconut note. Like I said, it's a little basic. Would I have loved a little bit more teak wood? I mean, I'm not sensing any kind of wood. There might be a little bit of musk, like high musk. But other than that, I'm not really getting a whole lot of like teak wood at all, period. Coconut, authentic coconut does have a little bit of a salty vibe to it, a la like coconut water or something. So I don't know that I'm getting a whole lot more salt than you would expect from a good coconut candle, nor a very strong aquatic note, except for what you would expect from a coconut water or a coconut milk. Yeah, I'm just missing kind of the depth that it could have. A few more layers, a few more dimensions, I think would make it special. I don't know that this is special, but I hope that it performs well because I do love coconut and I love my beach candles. So, and it's not bad smelling. It's really not. Again, it's above average in terms of it being like a coconut candle. But yeah, I was just expecting a completely different candle from the scent notes listed without the blurb. And this is just not it. But if you're a fan of coconut, I would check it out, right? There you go. All right, and it's so beautiful, and I do love the marketing on it. Okay, so there's that. Other new candle. We have two new candles. Foraged Wildberry, and I believe this is new for this fall. Looks like this. I was expecting great things from this. So Wildberry, and they do well with the dark and the jammies, which I'll do some comparisons in a second, but they have a great fig candle. They have a fantastic huckleberry candle. They have the Japanese plum candle. This is a reason why I do love this candle company, because I love all of those, and I especially love them in the fall, and I love it when they're dark, deep, jammy, got some musk influences. Oh, so nice. All right, so this is just another kind of contribution to that genre that they already do really quite well and is well represented in their catalog. Wildberry, the notes on this one are fallen leaves, again, kind of a nonsense note, cassis berry, wild blackberry, and golden amber. So we know that we've got a lot of currant, that we've got blackberry, and that we've got amber. And yeah, that feels about right. The one thing that is saving this candle from kind of generic berryness is that there is a very fragrant and almost green element to this candle. As in fig tree leaves. It's almost it's fig-like, and then it has this like, but I think it's a green note of like fig tree. And there's a woodiness and a greenness about it that is saving, like I said, this candle and making it a bit more interesting than otherwise it would be. This candle for me is a little too sweet. It's just for me personally. It is jammy. And there is a little bit of tartness, but I actually would have appreciated a bit more tartness here. It's a jamminess that's in a higher range and is fairly sweet. Yeah, it's not quite raspberry, but I would say that it's at the range of raspberry. Blackberry is very mild. It's kind of hard to amplify. Cassis is stronger, but it also tends to be more tart and sour than this candle is. This is just kind of like a generic berry note that's in the mid-range and is very sweet. And I think it's the amber that is also making it more sweet and perfumey. I don't love it, but like I said, it's that back note that's a little earthier, a little bit greener, and a little bit woodier, that smells more like fig, that is kind of, like I said, it's the back note of this candle, and man, it's just rescuing the whole thing from the jaws of defeat, or the jaws of cliche. Yeah. I mean, of their jammy candles, it's not my favorite. So here's another one that's also not my favorite, but I think I like it better than this one. And this is the Japanese Plum Bloom. Yeah, because this one is bassier. It's less high, it's less sweet. Don't get me wrong, it's sweet. But it's down here. It's also somewhat linear. I think this is, which is why it's not my favorite. It's not the most complex of the berryish, dark, jammy ones that they've got. And it is a plum note, but it's a very strange plum. Is there a true Japanese plum that's different than a regular plum? I would imagine. What does it remind me of? Some other kind of fruit. A very watery fruit. Almost like a grape, but it's not quite grape. It's a less sweet. It's a less sweet. I was at the Costco yesterday, and they were testing these Korean pears. It's in that genre. Very water forward, less sweet. Yeah. It's an okay candle. It's just very linear and kind of one note. Their better candles in this are Forbidden Fig. So here's Forbidden Fig, kind of a very rusty kind of cranberry color. Yeah, that's great. It's sweeter and more amberfied than I think Fig Tree from Anthropology, which is a better fig candle, I think, as well as Mediterranean Fig from Nest, which I also prefer. But again, it's got musk, it's got a woodiness in it. Less green than in the Foraged Blackberry and the Foraged Wildberry. And then a very beautiful fig note. Yeah, nice. That's Forbidden Fig. And then of course my absolute favorite, and you probably know this if you watch my channel, is Santiago Huckleberry in this amazing magenta red. So great, so great. Santiago Huckleberry, and I don't know what the notes are on this. It's tart and sour, almost like a rhubarb-like tartness, sourness. I can't remember if rhubarb is actually in the notes. And it's dark, 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 dark. It's darker than all of them. It's so good. Musky. It's perfect. It's like my perfect berry candle. I just love it so much. I really, really do. So anyway, I would recommend that one over the Foraged Wildberry. The Foraged Wildberry is saved by that green woody note that's kind of figgy. It might be okay. We'll have to burn it and see. All right, so that's Foraged Wildberry. Here's another one that I think is new because I've just not seen it before, but I could be wrong. And I stand corrected if it's been out for a while and it's just being re-released. Burning Woods. The notes on Burning Woods are smoky seed. Oh, I didn't read. Hold on, I didn't read the Foraged Berry. Wildberry is capture the moment when the golden amber sunlight reaches down through the woods, casting warmth along the edges of a wooded trail. Tread softly on fallen leaves as you uncover a tangled maze of plump, ripe berries. Hit the trail to search out nature's last offering of the season, Foraged Wildberry. That's really nice. All right. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It might be good. It might be good. Maybe I'll change my opinion. Maybe I'll learn to like that one a little bit more. I just always compare everything to Santiago Huckleberry, and I'm like, no, it's not the same. It's not the same. Of course it wouldn't be the same. All right. And then Burning Woods is a rich, warming accord with top notes of aromatic cut wood from fir balsam and Himalayan juniper, freshly gathered on a glowing hearth of herbal sage, smoky cade, and burning woods, enhanced by enticing tonalities of embers, warm patchouli mist, and cedar wood. Woo! Man, all of those are way up into my alley. So the notes on woods are smoking cedar, burning woods, embers, and Himalayan juniper. Let's take a sniff. As Josh would say, when I get my nose on this. Yeah. It's dry, it's warm, it's smoky, it's woody. It's like a wood spa with some smoke, and it's beautifully blended. It really is. I have found that many of these smoky wood candles that have become quite trendy, especially with these more luxury candle companies, are almost in the novelty range. They are so aggressive, so smoky, etc., that it kind of, like, if you were to burn them, it would smell like your house was burning down, possibly, you know? This one is blended beautifully so that the smokiness doesn't immediately fly into your face and make you think that something is actually burning down. It is beautifully blended with the wood forward notes, but don't get me wrong, it is like a hearthside fireplace kind of candle. And yeah, I do think it has musk in it and patchouli as well. Again, beautifully balanced, but it is a very earthy, woody candle. Again, this one does, for many people, they will say that this one does lean masculine. It does have authentic brightness to it though, so it's not like a men's cologne, and certainly not like a cliche necessarily. It would be like a brilliant candle if for the fact that like almost every good candle company has some sort of candle like this at this point. So I don't know that it necessarily is offering us anything super unique there in that respect, but at least it, like I said, is very well blended, very smooth, very like pleasant as far as those kinds of fragrances go. So I'm happy enough with it. All right, and then I did want to talk about French Cade Lavender, which, I mean, almost needs no introduction at all if you've been following VOLUSPA or are familiar with them. So French Cade Lavender is probably their first candle, or at least their most long-standing candle that has been such a bestseller. French Cade, this is what the tin looks like, but it's actually, French Cade Lavender is a very kind of pale green color. That's what the embossed glass is. It's been around for a long time. It really is a beautiful fragrance. It is. And it probably deserves to be a bestseller. It's just, in my experience, is one of the more unscented candles from VOLUSPA, and that continuum is already very bad. French Cade, yikes, they're all slipping around now. The French Cade scent blurb is the rustic, woodsy, and herbaceous nature of sun-drenched Provence is harvested with an aromatic infusion of lush lavender, rare French Cade wood, and vivid lemon verbena, embodying a true farm-to-table experience. Feel the creation of refreshing and calming energy like a breeze on a summer day. It's a beautiful fragrance. It is perfumey. Most of their fragrances are to greater or lesser degrees. But it's also very green, like an aloe green kind of feel to it. And the lavender, I think, actually plays second fiddle to that almost aquatic green note. Yeah, and almost a little soapiness in there. It's just really beautiful. I don't think it actually smells like a woody lavender. Like you would kind of be expecting an aromatherapy-like kind of fragrance, and it's not. It's very soft, it's sweet, it's vaguely aquatic and green, and with kind of a little bit of a fruity pop to it, a vaguely fruity pop, which has to be like the verbena in it. But it's not acidic or tangy the way that you would expect from a lemon necessarily. A little bit on the soapy side. It's a beautiful, very pleasing candle, but like I said, has been plagued with really bad performance. So it's kind of surprising how much of a bestseller it's been despite that. I'm really hoping with the 3-wick that I'll be able to get a little bit more out of it. And before you go, I really have to put in a shameless plug for Noble Fir Garland. If you're not familiar, run, do not walk. Find this candle, get it in a tin. It's so fantastic. I don't have the scent notes for you here. Oh wait, I think I wrote them down. Fir Garland, noble fir needles, cedar wood, glowing amber, and cashmere musk. Man, this is a great fragrance. And while it does have musk in it, and it does probably have some degree of amber in it, this is a candle that is so green. It is so green. So the musky elements here, the amber notes of it are definitely just very supporting cast to what is a beautiful green fragrance. And this is one of those green fragrances that doesn't immediately scream Christmas tree, although you can definitely pick out like the balsamish kind of element here. I've always said, and I know this is not listed, that it almost has like a vegetal, herbal, Italian parsley kind of vibe. I mean, it's like a beautiful, like brilliant, almost yellow-green kind of, I don't know, brightness to the greenery here. And it's just so welcome. It's so unexpected. It's so unique. It's what makes this candle like just something different than the million fir balsam candles that we get from every other company. It is a brilliant, brilliant candle. And if you get it in this 3-wick, it will perform. It will perform. In my back bedroom, I think I got it up to a good 6.5, maybe even more. So it's a, for VOLUSPA, it's definitely a better performer. And it's just such an unexpected greenery candle. It's phenomenal. So I can't speak highly enough of Noble Fir Garland. Pick one up. And because it's not so like narrowly Christmas tree smelling, you could get away with burning this at other times of the year. Certainly it would feel most seasonal, I think, in the fall or whatever else. But because of that parsley note there, you could get away with it in the spring. You could almost burn it in the summer. I mean, it's just a gorgeous, well-rounded, versatile, like greenery candle. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. High marks to VOLUSPA. Just when we're all about to write them off, right? They just do something brilliant. So I'm a huge fan, and I hope that that's obvious from this video. Like I said, I am going to fully own and acknowledge the fact that their performance is just not where it should be. If somehow VOLUSPA could change that, they would be, I mean, they would be one of the candle companies to beat. They really would. They would be that good. And like I said, given the fact that they are a more approachable price point in the luxury-ish market, I just think they would do 10 times better than what they do now if they performed more reliably and had better strength and throw. Honestly, if they can fix that aspect of it, the sky is the limit for this company. I really believe it. And I'm, like I said, a huge fan, a huge supporter. Traditionally, VOLUSPA has not been very transparent or engaging with their fan base and with the consumer. That has hurt them as well. The company has always seemed a little bit aloof, a little bit like they don't care, you know? And I think that has hurt them as well. If they could change that, and I like the fact these collaborations are really good signs, they could change that. If they could be a little bit more engaging with the consumer, and if they could listen a little bit more and learn from what the consumer wants, improve their product in ways the consumer wants, like I said, I just think the sky is the limit for this company. So I'm really hoping that things change in the company and that they take a different approach, frankly, because I just don't see how they wouldn't be interested in that. It would majorly affect their bottom line. There's just no question. Yeah. So that's what I've got for you, my friends. I would much rather buy a VOLUSPA candle than like a Nest candle. I'm not gonna lie to you. I just would. Yeah. And I think a lot of people would feel the same way about it, you know? So I just think that if they can improve their major Achilles heel, yeah, that's just single-handedly holding back the company, that they would be in a really, really good place. So I hope that that happens. I'm holding my breath. I'm crossing my fingers. Do I think it's likely? I mean, between us, probably not. But yeah, you know that I'll be in the vanguard when that happens. Yes, because yes, I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan. Thanks so much for joining me. If you made it all the way to the end, thank you so much. I know this was a lot, but I had a lot of candles that I wanted to talk about, and I just really wanted to enthuse a little bit. It's done my heart really good on this amazingly dark and gloomy day. Oh my gosh, it's like 5 o'clock and it looks like it's 10. Absurd. I can't stand it. I would give anything to be in Santa Monica, California right now. I am a Southern California kind of girl for sure. I love Los Angeles, and I wouldn't mind retiring to a place like that. San Diego, Arizona, Tucson, New Mexico. I need the desert climate and I need the sun from like 7 a.m. in the morning till like 9 p.m. at night. I just need it so badly. And as I get older, like it just becomes more and more obvious to me that that is my thing. That's my jam. That's where I need to be. So my heart is with VOLUSPA and Santa Monica right now. I'll catch you guys in the next one.